All right, well, Turks, I got a great show ahead for you guys. So we have gay Republicans on the show. I know what you're thinking.
Can't wait.
We have Michelle Bachmann going after Tim Pawlenty. We got a cat fight among the Republicans. I know what you're thinking. All right. And I'm about to tell you the most telling story about Barack Obama in politics. Well, that's pretty good, too. And I know what you're thinking about the show overall.
I jump in it.
Those are all things that are true, so let's go ahead and jump in it. Let's start with Barack Obama. So today I saw a story about how President Obama's had it, and he's frustrated, and about our political system. I thought, oh, thank God, okay, because, look, this is why we got him elected in the first place, right? Because he said he was going to change politics in Washington, doesn't want to play it the way it's being played. So he says this today, quote, "There's nothing wrong with our country. There's something wrong with our politics." I said, isn't that right? You go get him. Now, as the Associated Press explains, 2 paragraphs later, quote, "Obama aired his frustration with the ways of Washington at an event in Michigan before pivoting to his re-election campaign and a pair of big money fundraisers in New York City." Show, wang, wang, wang. I'll tell you, there's something really wrong with Washington, the way we're doing our politics. Where's the money? Where's the money? Come on, let me grab at it. You know how much you got in those 2 events? $2 million. Harvey Weinstein, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jimmy Fallon are all at these events. Anna Wintour, Vera Wang, Gayle King, Alicia Keys, Chris Martin, and the list goes on and on. Everybody paying $38,500 for a plate of dinner and get to meet with Obama and give him the money. Oh, there's something terribly wrong with our politics. Where's the money? Come on, let me get the money. Let me get the money. So now you think, hey, well, look, maybe he's got to get the money to run for re-election, but at the same time, he realizes there's something wrong. It's Barack Obama. You kidding me? Here's why he's doing it. Because there's a new poll by the Washington Post, says nearly 80% saying that they are dissatisfied with the ways that the country's political system works, compared with 60% in November of 2009. Now, look, 60% was high to begin with. That's part of the reason we elected Barack Obama. Now it's at 80%. And this is what everybody's talking about in Washington. Turns out they just realized that the whole country thinks that they're all corrupt, the whole system is broken, it doesn't really work, and there's something wrong with Washington. Hey, why did we elect you in the first place with the big change thing in the background? It took the latest poll in Washington to shake you out of your complacency? Besides which, he doesn't mean it, man. He's just responding to the polls as he always does. It's really sickening. Here's another poll. 19% of people polled said that Obama had made progress in solving the country's major problems. 19%. That's disastrous. The only thing more disastrous is that just 10% said that the Republicans hadn't made any progress in solving our problems. And look, that's Obama's number one, advantage, which is that, yeah, I might be a disaster and maybe I did nothing to change Washington, unlike what I told you during the lead up to the 2008 election, but the Republicans are worse. That is by far, not just his best argument, his only argument. And unfortunately, we all agree with that. Yes, the Republicans are much worse. That's why only 10% think that they've done anything to help. But what have you done? Why don't you do something instead of going out there and say, oh, there's something wrong with Washington. Come on, give me the money. What? It's such an empty phrase. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to fix it? Of course not. Now, Obama goes on to tell not only the people in Michigan, but the people at his fancy fundraiser, quote, "You've got to tell them that you've had enough of the theatrics, you've had enough of the politics, stop sending out press releases, start passing some bills that we all know will help the economy right now. That's what they need to do. They've got to hear from you." So, now look, again, it's not like he's saying that he's going to fix the system, that he's got any bills. Is he proposing anything for campaign finance reform? Is he trying to get money out of politics in any way, shape, or form? The answer is absolutely not. But he's got this empty rhetoric. But here's the funny part. The very next paragraph from the Associated Press. House Speaker John Boehner promptly responded with a news release calling the president's remarks political grandstanding. So Obama says you got to stop the press releases. Boehner sends out a press release. He says you got to stop the politics. Boehner says he's political grandstanding. So here we are, right back in that same mess where they just both getting money from the same people and then having these fake fights where they say, oh, you're doing politics, you're doing politics. When in reality, none of them are addressing the real concerns of the American people. By the way, you want to know what one of those is? Jobs. Hey, did you think about that? Hey, what's the Republican plan on jobs? Bupkis. Squat. Nothing. Hey, Obama, what's your plan? Oh, free trade agreements, which, by the way, was the old Republican plan. And yes, they're going to agree to that. Congratulations. By the way, you know why we're doing a free trade deal with Panama? Now, Panama has almost, I believe their GDP is like 27 billion. It's almost nothing compared to the U.S. Economy. Are we all of a sudden going to do immense trade with Panama, and that's going to really help create jobs here? Let alone the fact that our trade agreements with countries like Korea, we think are going to cost us jobs. How does that create jobs? How disingenuous, right? Now, you could be in favor of those free trade agreements for other reasons, but you can't really say that's your jobs program. Last time we did NAFTA, we did free trade. Some people are in favor of it, some people are against it. But you really, with a straight face, you're going to say you created jobs here in the United States of America, and it didn't bring jobs to Mexico or Canada or other places? It's all right. So why are we doing the one with Panama? Well, this is funny. Turns out Panama has one of the most secretive banking institutions in the world. And if we do a free trade agreement with them, we will not be able to pursue people that are using, and corporations that are using Panama as tax havens. The whole point of the free trade agreement with Panama, and this is a story out of the New York Times, okay, is to make sure that these corporations and the rich get an extra tax haven which cannot be touched. Right now, under our current agreement with Panama, we can go in there and say, hey, wait a minute, these are our citizens, you got to give us the records from the banks, et cetera. But if we have a free trade agreement with them, they say, hey, look, it's in the agreement. You can't mess with that, and we can't. If you have a specific person, we might be able to work with you, but we're not going to turn over any of our records, and they're going to be able to use this as a tax haven to avoid all tax responsibilities in the U.S. Hey, we're creating jobs, aren't we? Is that the point? All of you in Washington are frauds. Frauds of the highest order. You work for the rich, the powerful, the corporations, and you do their bidding. Like, Barack Obama doesn't know what's going on with that Panama Free Trade Agreement. And he comes out here with a straight face and tells us that that agreement is going to create jobs instead of protect the rich, which he knows exactly, that's the exact real point of that trade agreement. And then he wonders, oh, why are people disgruntled with politics? I don't know. Who cares? Let me just give another one of my nonsense speeches that I don't give a damn about, that I'm not going to do a thing about, but that tricks the American people and tell them, oh, you know what? The American people are disgruntled with our politics. I'm so disgruntled. So disgruntled. What can I give away to the rich today? Believe me, you'll have Republican help. And we get it, man. 10%. That's what the Republicans are down to. 10% think that the Republicans are doing anything to fix Washington. But Obama, you're at 19%, man. Like, you're bragging because you're 9 points above the Republicans. But the reality is you're a disaster. I know. Go ahead, Obama bots. Tell me about it. What a lovely human being he is, and he's trying so damn hard. You know, I read this stupid defense of Obama the other day, and it starts with a whole page about how Obama must be smarter than all of us, so we should shut up and just listen to him. And that's it. That's the main defense. Well, he has to be. By definition, he has to be smarter than us, so we should bow our head. And yeah, but that Panama Free Trade Agreement, that's going to be awesome for us. The middle class is going to win a lot. We're going to have huge. Guys, how many jobs do you think we're going to create here at the Young Turks with that Panama Free Trade Agreement?
I hear we're making more room.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Got loads coming in.
Okay, here we go. TYT Panama. Okay, let me give you one last fun fact from that Washington Post poll that I was just quoting. Nearly 3/4 of Americans polled said they have little or no confidence in Washington to repair the economy. 3/4. No confidence that Washington is going to do a damn thing to fix the economy, because they're right. There is no fixing it. They're not even trying to fix the economy. They're just trying to figure out new ways to give the rich more. You know what? Let me skip ahead here. Hey, Jesus, throw that Salon graph up there. Now, Salon wrote a good piece about, I don't know even if I can find it, but I know where it is. So let's put this up, right? About income inequality and how it doesn't help anybody, including the rich. It actually lowers the quality of life, including life expectancy, et cetera, for the rich as well as the poor. It hurts everybody, right? Well, so what's this graph we're looking at? That's on the horizontal there. I'm sorry, on the vertical there, you're looking at the index of if your life is better. Now, they take into account all these different things: health care, how long are you going to live, teenage birth, et cetera, right? And then you look at income inequality on the horizontal. So, for example, Japan has the best income equality. So very equal basis. And look at that, it has the very best in life quality, okay? Now, by the standards that they're using. And then you see Norway, Denmark, et cetera. On the better end of that, Sweden. At the very end there, you see Portugal as the outlier, great income inequality, and very bad quality of life, comparatively, in context to the other countries. Can you see the US on there? It's even further out. It's literally off the chart in income inequality and quality of life. The more unequal our income is, the worse our quality of life is for everybody, not just the poor and the middle class, even for the rich. You know, as they pointed out in that article in Salon, is it great for the rich in Colombia back in the days? I mean, still today to some degree, Mexico, Colombia, et cetera. But remember, you know, when Colombia was in the height of the drug war, and yeah, okay, they were rich, but they literally had guys with machine guns on top of the roof. How do you sleep at night? Right? So is that great quality of life? And you had to constantly worry about getting kidnapped? And, you know, and we've talked about this endlessly on the show about how the rich are, you know, building weapons onto their yachts and getting $230,000 guard dogs. But is that really quality of life? No. Look, I'm not sure I'd even want to be on the Japan or Norway end of that spectrum, because you sacrifice a little bit of individual liberty to be at that end of the spectrum, if you ask me, okay? I'd probably rather be in the middle, even though it costs us, quote unquote, quality of life. But where we are, the US, it's stupid. It's not just unconscionable and immoral. It's stupid for everybody. We need to get back to sanity. Who's doing it? Not a damn soul. Okay, so Obama's re-election campaign. Earlier in the week, we told you about this amazing story leaked out to Politico from the Obama campaign about how they were going to, quote, destroy Romney, right? And they were going to talk about how weird he is. Now, I was of two minds on that. One, calling the guy weird is, to me, doesn't seem like that's that effective politics. Like, wow, zinger, you got him, you called him weird. But then later in the article, they explained that weird might be an allusion to his religion. Like, oh, Mormons are kind of weird, Romney's weird. And without saying so, they were hoping that people connected to his religion. That was not what people in the Obama administration said, but Politico was connecting the dots based on other reporting that they had, and I thought that was interesting. And now, if that was the case, that's a low blow, and, well, it at least means that they're getting tough, even though I probably wouldn't go in that direction. I think there's much better ways to attack Mitt Romney. Okay, now, at least you were thinking, though, they're getting tough. Come on, put that away. You crazy? You crazy? You knew there was something wrong with the story, right, Jared? I mean, you read that story and you said, that doesn't sound like Obama. Obama's team's going to get vicious with Romney. So, of course, Axelrod, who will be a major, major player in the re-election, obviously, for Obama, comes out and says on Morning Joe, oh, weird? Oh, nobody's calling him weird. You know what? I'm going to make damn sure nobody from the Obama administration or Obama campaign team ever calls Romney weird. Oh, they're getting tough, man. Oh, wow. They were going to call him weird. Wow. But now they're not even going to do that. They've promised, they begged on air, please forgive us for a story that came out in Politico. I'm so sorry. We'll never ever call him weird. We'll never call him any names. Yeah, good luck with that strategy. Okay. All right, listen, I'm going to take a quick break here. When we come back, gay Republicans.
Oh, give me a break.
Can't do it. All right, back on the Young Turks. Some surprising things in the postgame today for the members. Why Rand Paul's a douche. Now, you might not be surprised that he's a douche, but why he's a douche is surprising. Mm-hmm. Richard Clark with a 9/11 conspiracy theory. Remember that he was the head of counterterrorism. Mm-hmm. It's a really interesting, was really surprised by it. And then as a very surprising person that's considering running for office. So the whole postgame is nothing but supplies. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got that for the members today. All right, now, the rest of the show.
A 24-year-old woman is accused of physically assaulting a 12-year-old girl for looking at her boyfriend.
Okay, now this story is weird in a lot of ways. How old is the boyfriend?
The boyfriend is 30 years old. The suspect in this case is 24 years old, and the victim in this case is 12 years old. So what happened was the 24-year-old, Candace Kiley, saw the 12-year-old in the kitchen with her boyfriend at a party. The 12-year-old was there to get ice for her drink, right? And I don't know. Supposedly the 12-year-old looked at the 30-year-old boyfriend. The 24-year-old got jealous and then grabbed her by the hair and pulled her down to the ground.
And she hit the back of her head.
Yeah.
And then, obviously she had a huge welt, etc. That's really serious and dangerous.
Well, that's what happens if you're a parent who allows your 12-year-old to hang out with 24 and 30-year-olds. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, of course, that 12-year-old had it coming. How dare she look at anyone else? By the way, there was no indication in the story that the 12-year-old was actually looking at the 30-year-old.
Right.
She happened to be in the kitchen when the guy was in the kitchen and he was cleaning something up and she was waiting for the ice.
The 24-year-old here is, of course, the guilty one. She's crazy. She's unbalanced. She should be put away in jail. like you're a little crazy when you're intimidated by a 12-year-old.
Yeah, who thinks a 12-year-old scamming on your boyfriend?
I guess when you look like that.
Oh, you're the worst. Okay. Anyway, I denounce and reject you. But imagine how vicious you have to be to grab a little girl and slam her head against the, against the floor. Like, what you doing looking at my boyfriend?
She might have been on drugs too. You don't know what was in her system when that happened. Who knows?
Okay. Fascinating. Okay. Next.
You don't have too much commentary today.
Did she know that the girl was 12? These girls are looking older these days.
She deserved it by looking like she might not have been 12.
Yeah.
What kind of party was this? Well, okay, was she getting a drink? A drink?
The article didn't
No.
specify, but I don't think so. If it was an alcoholic beverage, then I'm pretty sure.
Dude, she's 12. She's probably getting a Kool-Aid. Okay? And look, this is a relevant fact for everybody. When somebody accuses you of something, and it's not just Republicans, although they're the kings of this, I'm telling you, man, I've noticed lately it's 7 out of 10 times it's projection, okay? So she's going out with an older guy, so she assumes that everybody's interested in older guys. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
She's 24 going out with a 30-year-old, so she thinks, well, of course a 12-year-old's going to be interested in my 30-year-old, right? When the 12-year-old probably didn't even think about it. She was probably thinking, what the hell would I do with grandpa?
She probably was thinking that.
Right? But it's projection.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Liz Earls is writing a new book, or is going to release a new book called Days of the Cougar. And in her book, she basically publishes photography that she's taken of herself having rendezvous with young men.
No.
Saucy.
Don't it? Well, does she get... Oh,
Damn!
Jeez, Lord mercy. I didn't know it was like that.
I had not seen that photo.
Okay, well, that is definitely adults only. She looks better in that picture. There, I'm having a conversation about Days of the Cougar. There, not so much.
I mean, she's... Okay.
Well, she's inviting... one of the things that they ask her about is, how did you get to men? Yeah, when you spread your legs like this, some dude's going to come by, okay?
Right. No, okay, this is the reason why I bring this story up, okay? She was actually married previously, and, she let herself go. She got fat. She was unhappy in her marriage. She was having an affair with her boss. I mean, her life was just spiraling out of control. And then she decided, I'm taking control of it, right? So what ended up happening is she got a divorce. She lost a bunch of weight. She had some plastic surgery to get rid of excess skin. She had breast implants. And all of a sudden, she feels this sense of empowerment, and she wants to go out and do something that she's never done before in her life, right? Which is explore her sexuality. So she goes out there. It first started off as her wanting to take photographs, erotic photographs, right? That was what she wanted to do as a hobby and possibly as a job. And then as she was doing that, she realized, I don't want to just take the photographs, I want to participate.
Really? Yeah. She's like, as I got my legs spread wide open, an idea occurred to me. Why don't I have someone join me? Okay, and here's one of my favorite parts of this interview. As they're talking to her, they say, all right, what besides the toothbrush would you never travel without?
Oh God, this is crazy.
Quote, I always bring my strap-on and dildos. I recently lost my favorite dildo in a cab in New York. They don't make that model anymore. Okay, I don't know when she bought it, 1973 or whatever, but so if you're interested in this,
1973.
okay, if you're interested in this cougar and you're like, oh wow, okay, oh here she comes, right, a cougar on the prowl, right? Next thing you know, here comes a strap-on. You're like, oh Jesus, Lord mercy, I didn't see that coming. So watch out what that cougar's packing.
I know,
okay?
I know.
That made
By
me
the
think
way,
like,
I
oh.
can understand
Give me
you.
a break.
That strap-on, used for multiple partners. Like if she has had it since 1973, Jesus.
No, yeah.
By the way, okay, look, the reason why I brought this up, there is a more important part of this story.
Oh, there is.
There is,
Okay,
I
all right.
swear,
I
I
thought we
swear.
hit the important part.
No, you just never
I thought
know.
the strap-on was the important part. I mean,
No.
if you're, interested in that, thing happening, believe me, the strap-on's important.
You never know where your life is going to take you. That's what I got out of this story. Like, she got married, she had 2 kids. Like, she probably thought at some point in her life, I'm settled, I'm finished, this is it for me. Like, I'm in jail. This is it, prison, finished, right? But all of a sudden, like, you're taking erotic pictures and publishing a book about it. All of a sudden, you're talking about, you're giving an interview where you're talking about your dildo and strap-on for the Daily Beast. It's amazing to me. Like, you never know where your life is going to take you.
So you thought it was,
End of this.
but it turns out she was,
I'm coming to your house. I'm coming to your house.
Quite literally.
and she definitely,
I jump in it.
okay. J.R. Jackson, I need you to answer this question. Katy Perry, we've decided, is a fairly attractive lady, and you're about to have some shenanigans with her, and she comes out in a strap-on. Okay. Now, look. You don't have to bother telling me you're not going to participate in the strap-on. We get that. We assume that given your proclivities, right? But what is your reaction? Like, do you say, oh, no, thank you, ma'am, and you just walk out, or what do you do?
I can't say exactly what I would say, but yes, walking out would be the end result.
Yeah, I don't think so. Here's the direction that I would go. Okay, here, first of all, everybody.
Would you oblige?
Here's it.
But actually, I wouldn't get like upset and angry and like go off. But I would try to still be nice. Be like, hey, I just want you probably got me confused with someone else. Have fun though.
Okay, she comes in and I say,
Can't wait.
and then we do it.
Again. And again. And again.
I've refound my sound machine. Okay, no. My first reaction would be fascinating. I'd be like, what made you think that I would be into that? Right? Like, did I give you some clues? Like, hey, you know what? Even though I'm with a really hot girl, I might be interested in something else, right? And then once we got beyond that conversation, I'd be like, look, unfortunately, I'm not into that, but I would still like to fuck you. Because you can't walk out until you know if you can have other things or if that's her, bottom line. You see what I'm saying?
You know why? Because at that point, even if she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was just, I'm a little freaky. And I was just going to try. I mean, I threw it out there. I'd be like, I understand. But the thing is, now in my mind, I don't know what you're going to be reaching for, where you're going to be trying to stick things while things are going on. Now I just don't trust you.
No. I hear you. I would definitely get past that. And this is the most important question. I would say, what's the second most freaky thing you're into? Because maybe we could make that work. You see what I'm saying? Like, well, I'm not interested in that direction, but if we go in another direction, I might soon be yelling,
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
all right.
Just one thing, when Anna was talking, she first started the story about she let herself go, and she was having an affair, or was her husband?
No, she was having an affair with her boss.
Isn't that amazing? That just gives you what men are. Like, she let herself go, but someone was still pounding her.
Oh, yeah, no question.
It's amazing.
No, there's always a taker.
Yeah.
And don't forget that, all right? There's always a taker, especially when it comes to men. Okay, somebody gonna come knocking, trust me. I would like to make one last comment about the strap-on.
Oh, okay, please do, Cenk.
Okay, the strap-on is the most variable sex tool there is out there. okay? Because if you're about to go with a woman and she brings it out, disaster, right? So it's the worst possible thing she could bring out, right? But if a woman brings it out with another woman, then it's like the greatest thing that ever happened. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like it has the biggest spectrum. Like, oh no, to like, oh yes. I'm just keeping it real, man. That's my job here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not attracted by either one.
Yeah, well,
Either scenario, not interested in it.
Yeah, I know. Trust me. The guys, they're like, she just put on a strap-on with the other girl?
The gorilla thing needs to happen more often. It needs to happen. It's just too funny.
It's a damn good thing I saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Because between the gorilla thing and... we got to show that clip, the real clip where they do that. We'll find it for you one day. All right.
Who knew we would have that much fun with the Queen of the Cougar story?
Well, as soon as I saw the strap on, I knew there was fun ahead. Okay. By the way, you can take that and put that on your assassin list too for sound clips that devastate us later in life. Okay.
Chinese man dresses like a carrot along with 49 of his friends to propose to his girlfriend. Instead of giving her a diamond ring, 14 carats, he gave her 49 carats.
Oh, wang, wang, wang.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
First of all, those carrots are so cute.
Yes.
Second of all, I thought about whether or not I would be amused by that. I'd be amused, but then in the end, I'd probably want a ring.
I think that there's some chance that once the guy took off the carrot outfit, you'd say,
You don't know me, and I don't know you.
No.
And
Listen.
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, I want a big ring, I want something, like something to, I want that moment.
Okay.
Okay, it doesn't have to.
By the way, that moment, that looks a little dirty. Like, oh, look at this. Look at this moment. What we got here. Okay. Anyway, I love this guy. Putting the kidding aside.
Yeah.
Look, that's creative. That's fun.
Right.
It's different. I hate wasting the money on the diamonds. This is at least enormously memorable. But get a load of how much it costs, though.
Right. It costs 10,000 pounds, which is about $20,000 US dollars.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, dude, to have dudes dress up in carrot outfits.
But why is it that expensive? Is it because the costumes were expensive? Did you have to pay each one of the little carrot dancers? I don't get it.
By the way, what is that thing that the carrot has on it? Is that like a belly button, or it looks weird? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's its mouth, right?
Why does a carrot have that mouth? And then why does it have a square on top?
I think that's where they see out of the square, I'm guessing.
Okay, the square, okay, I get, but I don't know what that nub is. It looks dirty.
Okay, so I know we've had these kind of conversations before, but since he spent, was it like 29 US dollars on it?
Like 20.
20,000 US dollars
Roughly.
on it. Does that make up better for? I mean, if he doesn't have a 10-carat ring that costs however much. Oh, he spent a lot of money on the proposal, so now it makes it better. Is it the fact that dude spends a bunch of money, or is it what if you get a ring that?
For some women it is. Look. So, for some women it is. Some women actually care about the cost of the ring. They care about the money involved. Some women do. But I swear to God, it has nothing to do with money for a lot of other women. Like, for instance, I think that making it memorable and being creative and unique is more important to a lot of women than the cost of whatever it is that he's planning on doing. Like, honestly, if I found out that my boyfriend or my fiance did that and he spent $20,000 on it, I'd be livid. I'd say, oh my, we could have used that for a house, or we could have used that for something else.
Like, Anna's ruthlessly practical. You remind me of my dad. Like, Bora and I used to joke around like some kid, this true story happened, devastated because he was about to get married and found out his girlfriend, his virginal girlfriend was, fiance was cheating on him with another guy. Okay. My dad is the kind of guy, and he'd gotten him rented an apartment, he'd bought all this furniture, etc. My dad's the kind of guy who would have been like, oh my God, did you save the receipts on the furniture? Okay, because he's ruthlessly practical.
Right.
He's like, yeah, she got who cares? Okay, let's return the furniture and get some of the money back. Okay.
Well, it's true. I mean, you don't want to lose all that money.
See? Okay, but I think the real question is, okay, what do you prefer? A diamond ring worth $20,000 or the 49-carat maneuver?
If the $20,000 has to be spent,
Yes.
I would rather have the carrots dancing than the actual ring. Like, the ring doesn't have to be a big deal. And we've talked about rings before in the past. You guys are laughing, but I'm consistent.
Yeah, I don't believe her. You don't believe her either, right? I didn't even see you guys, but I didn't believe her for a second.
You guys are full of it. And look, this is what I mean. Look, we had a discussion about rings before. And remember I said, like, I don't want the conventional diamond ring.
You just said you want something. You did the...
I want something.
You did the...
I want something because it's symbolic to me. That doesn't mean I want something that's going to cost $20,000.
Yeah, but what if, okay, says, look, I did the carrot trick, set me back 20 grand. And by the way, he then says,
I immediately regret this decision.
okay, and then he says, so
why
that's
am I
why.
gonna answer? Hold on, let me ask
Then
you something.
that's why I got you an $18 diamond ring, and it's about this big, right?
First of
and
all,
then all your
18
friends are like, oh, geez, I'm Lord Mercy, what is it?
First of all, my friends are irrelevant, okay? Because my friends are not going to be in my marriage. Why am I even answering this question if I have a bunch of dicks in the room that aren't going to believe anything I say? So why don't I just not answer the question? I'll just shut my mouth.
Okay, wow. Okay, but she showed us. She shut her mouth. Here's what she's interested in.
Right.
Okay. No, I'm playing. Look, I know you don't care as much about the diamond, and I respect that. I know that. But trust me, 9 out of 10 women are like, oh, that carrot thing was so funny, so where's the diamond ring? Okay, keeping it real.